What's up, guys? It's been a minute since I made a video, but here I am, so let's go ahead and get into it. In this video, I want to teach you how to perform the Romanian deadlift. More importantly, why you need to be performing the Romanian deadlift. This is a video I've been wanting to make for a while because the Romanian deadlift is such an amazing exercise. It's one of my all-time favorite exercises, and I want to teach you guys how to do it correctly so that you can get the most out of it. Real quick, guys, before we get into the video, if you're interested in online fitness coaching from a certified personal trainer, head over to athleticbodysystems.com to pick out your own training package. Coaching packages that include custom programming based upon your goals and your needs, your exercise history, as well as nutrition guidance, weekly video calls, form checks for all your exercises, all kinds of good things like that. So if you haven't already, please go check out my website, athleticbodysystems.com. All right, guys, let's get into the video. Very rarely will I tell anybody that any exercise, any specific exercise, is mandatory to have in your training program. Okay, for chest, you've got countless pressing variations. You've got the barbell bench press and its variations. You've got dumbbell presses, machine presses, push-ups, dips, right? All those kinds of different exercises. Same thing for back, okay? You can do rows with barbells, dumbbells, cables, machines, etc. Okay, there's all kinds of different variations that you can do. All of them will work as long as they're integrated correctly into your program. The Romanian deadlift is one of those exercises that I will tell you I think is essential. No matter what your goals are, I think everybody needs to learn how to perform the Romanian deadlift correctly, and I think it is a staple for any fitness program. When it comes to building big, beefy hamstrings, you need to pick hip hinge movements, okay? Hip hinges are absolutely necessary for building your hamstrings. So hip hinge movements are going to include Romanian deadlifts, stiff leg deadlifts, and good mornings, okay? These three exercises are really just variations of each other, but I think the Romanian deadlift is probably the most user-friendly and it's probably the easiest to learn and perform. The reason these exercises, specifically the Romanian deadlift, are so useful, where it gets its value, is in its execution, okay? The Romanian deadlift and conventional deadlift, sometimes people will tell you that, oh, a Romanian deadlift and a conventional deadlift are the same movement, except the Romanian deadlift starts and stops at the top, and it doesn't touch the floor. Okay, that is a very flawed understanding of the Romanian deadlift. A lot of people misunderstand the Romanian deadlift, and therefore they miss out on a golden opportunity to place it in their training just because they use it incorrectly. The Romanian deadlift is not a substitute for the conventional deadlift. The two exercises are so different when you actually look at them and when you know how to perform one and the other. One does not replace the other, they're just two different movements, okay? So why does the Romanian deadlift differ so much from a conventional deadlift? What makes the exercise so valuable? So I talked about hip hinging, right? So hip hinging is when you push your hips back and you maintain extension in your lumbar spine, okay? That is a true hip hinge. So I talked about the execution of the Romanian deadlift being where it has its value. So with the Romanian deadlift, the most important portion of the lift is going to be the eccentric portion, right? With a conventional deadlift, you really don't even have much of an eccentric at all because you're basically just not dropping the weight on the floor, but you don't have any control over that. You're just placing it back down on the ground. With the Romanian deadlift, you want to move slowly and you want to intentionally move your body in the way that you want it to during the eccentric part of the lift. The eccentric is what sets you up for success when performing the Romanian deadlift, okay? Moreover, with a conventional deadlift, you start on the floor from a dead stop and you get more leg drive, you use more of your quads, right? It's more of a whole body lift, whereas when you perform the Romanian deadlift correctly, you're gonna get a ton of hamstring activation, okay? The stretch you get on your hamstrings from performing a Romanian deadlift is insane. It doesn't compare to any other hamstring exercise. So how do you get this hamstring stretch that I'm talking about? Okay, I want you guys to practice an exercise with me real quick, okay? So stand up, see how I'm doing this here. I want you to just bend over and touch your toes. Okay, very simple, nothing else to it. Just reach down as far as you can. If you can't touch your toes, that's okay. The idea is that you're just bending over, right? Now, do you feel anything in your hamstrings? Like, think about trying to feel like a stretch in your hamstrings or anything like that. You might feel something. Okay, now try it again like I'm doing here. I want you to push your hips back. I want you to maintain an arch in your low back, okay? This is the key. Maintain this arch in your low back. Push your butt back as far as you can. Stick your butt out while maintaining that arch in your low back, okay? While doing this, I also want you to minimize any bending of your knees that you might have. Now I want you to perform this and tell me what the hamstring stretch feels like. It should feel much greater. You should feel a very intense stretch in your hamstrings. This hamstring stretch here. This position that you're in, this is the crux of the Romanian deadlift. This is what makes the exercise so useful. You can't do this with a regular conventional deadlift, okay? This exercise right here is going to put such an insane stretch on your hamstrings. You do this correctly and you do this over time and you stick with it, you're really going to blow up your hamstrings. The goal of this specific movement is not depth, okay? You're not trying to get down as far as you possibly can, right? The goal is that arch in your low back. This is called spinal extension, okay? And specifically in your low back, this is lumbar extension. You want to maintain that arch throughout the entire movement while you're pushing your hips back as far as you possibly can. Also, while minimizing the amount of flexion that your knees have, okay? I know this is a lot of complicated stuff and it's a very unnatural feeling if you're not used to it, but this is how you perform the exercise correctly. And the more you practice it, the more you're going to get more comfortable with it and you're going to be able to perform the exercise correctly and you're going to be able to progressively overload, get much stronger, and build your hamstrings. So how do you do this with weights added? How do you actually perform the Romanian deadlift? Well, what I've shown you here with just your own body weight, this is how you perform the movement. But now I'm going to show you how to do it with weights so that you can perform the exercise the way as it's intended. So you can do this with either dumbbells or a barbell. I personally prefer a barbell just because it's easier to stack on weights on there. You can be a little bit stronger and you can put the appropriate weights on. It's also just easier to set up because you're set up in a rack. See how I've got the safety arms set up here? Notice here whenever I have the weight in my hands and I'm backing up, I'm only taking a couple of steps back, right? You don't want to back up so much that you're carrying all this weight around for like 4 or 5 steps, right? Just back up just enough so that the bar can clear the safety hooks. Your stance width and your grip width should be exactly the same as a conventional deadlift, right? Keep a shoulder width grip on the bar, keep your feet inside shoulder width. You'll see as I'm doing this here, I've got straps on. I strongly recommend performing the Romanian deadlift with straps. The reason for that is you're holding onto the bar the whole time. You're not setting the bar down in between reps like you do with a good conventional deadlift. So that's going to be a lot of work on your grip. Use straps so that you don't have to worry about the bar slipping out of your hands. Again, you never want your grip to be the limiting factor on any exercise that's not grip work, okay? Okay, so from here you just do exactly what I demonstrated earlier, okay? You just maintain that arch in your low back, okay? Maintain the lumbar extension, push your butt and your hips back as far as you can get them while maintaining the arch. As you drop down, you want to minimize any bending in your knees, okay? Don't keep them locked, but don't let them bend any further as you go down. Get down as far as you can while maintaining all of those things, and then when you feel that super intense hamstring stretch and you can't go any further, pop back up and rinse and repeat. I want to reiterate this point because it's so important, okay? If you lose that extension in your low back and you start to round over and your spine starts to flex, you're going to end up taking tension off of your hamstrings, and you don't want that. The goal of the Romanian deadlift is to build your hamstrings and get that intense stretch. So if you're rounding over, you might be using too much weight, or you just need to work on your form and your technique a little bit more. As always, guys, when you perform any big movement like this, don't forget to breathe and brace, okay? Breathe in, brace your core, hold that breath all the way down. Continue to hold the breath as you come back up and then let it out at the top. And then that's how you breathe for Romanian deadlift. That's how you're going to breathe for the majority of your lower body exercises. Alright guys, that's pretty much all I've got for you in today's video. If you guys like this video and you want to see more videos like this, as well as muscle building workouts, exercise tutorials, and nutrition videos, go ahead and subscribe and hit the notification bell down below so you don't miss out on the gains. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next video.